Right now, somewhere in the Pacific Ocean, a ship the size of 4 football fields is carrying everything you're going to buy for the next 3 months. You just don't know it yet. This is the story of the invisible empire that built modern civilization. Look around the room you're in right now. Your phone, your clothes, that chair you're sitting on. 90% of it crossed an ocean to get here. Not by plane, not by truck, by ship. Massive, hulking, impossibly efficient machines that move 20,000 containers at once. And you've never thought about them, not once. Until one gets stuck. March 23rd, 2021. The Ever Given, a container ship longer than the Empire State Building, is tall, wedges itself sideways in the Suez Canal. One ship, stuck. The entire global economy starts hemorrhaging $12 billion per day. $12 billion. Every 24 hours, this single vessel stays lodged in Egyptian sand. 400 ships pile up behind it. Oil can't flow. Furniture can't move. Car parts freeze in transit. Toilet paper shipments halt. Remember the panic? That wasn't a toilet paper shortage. That was you finally seeing the machine. Let me show you how it actually works. A single container ship today can carry the equivalent of 20,000 20-foot boxes stacked end to end. That's 68 miles of cargo on one vessel. These aren't ships anymore. They're floating nations. The largest container ships operating today are 400 meters long. As wide as a highway is long. They burn 16 tons of fuel per hour. 16 tons. Their engines produce over 100,000 horsepower, more power than 600 sports cars combined. And yet, they're the most fuel-efficient way humans have ever invented to move physical objects across the planet. Here's the math that changed everything. In 1956, an American trucker named Malcolm McLean had a problem. Shipping goods overseas took weeks, not because of sailing time, because of loading time. Longshoremen moved cargo piece by piece, barrel by barrel, crate by crate. A ship could sit in port for days while workers hand-loaded thousands of individual items. McLean had one idea. What if the truck trailer itself just went on the ship? The container was born. Not the ship, not the crane, the box. A standardized metal rectangle that could go from truck to train to ship without ever being opened. It sounds obvious now. It was revolutionary then. Before containers, shipping cargo from New York to Germany cost roughly $420 per ton. After containers, $16. 16. The entire shape of global manufacturing changed overnight. Suddenly, it was cheaper to make a t-shirt in Bangladesh, ship it 7,000 miles, and sell it in Kansas than to make it in North Carolina. The world got flatter, wages got cheaper, supply chains got longer, and 3 companies you've never heard of became more powerful than most governments. Maersk, MSC, CMA, CGM. These 3 shipping giants control nearly 50% of the world's container capacity. Maersk alone operates over 700 vessels. They move roughly 15 million containers every single year. If Maersk stopped operating tomorrow, grocery stores would be empty in 72 hours. Not an exaggeration. Math. The average American city has about 3 days of food inventory, maybe 4. Everything else is moving, always moving, on ships you'll never see. Here's what it costs to make that system run. Building one of these megaships, between $150 and $200 million each. Operating it for 1 year, another $15 million in fuel alone. Crew salaries, maintenance, insurance, port fees, you're looking at $50 million per vessel annually. So how do they make money? Volume. Ruthless, unimaginable volume. A single 20-foot container traveling from Shanghai to Los Angeles costs about $1,500 to ship right now. $1,500. To move 20 tons of cargo 7,000 miles. That's cheaper per pound than mailing a letter. Do that calculation across 20,000 containers per voyage. $30 million. One trip. The ship makes the journey in 16 days. Run those numbers across 700 ships making dozens of trips per year. Now you see the empire. But here's where it gets interesting. Those prices I just told you, they're normal times. During the pandemic, everything broke. In 2019, that same Shanghai to LA container cost $800. Cheap, predictable, boring. Then COVID hit. People stopped going to restaurants, stopped traveling, started buying stuff. Lots of stuff. Furniture, electronics, home gym equipment, pelotons. Everything came from Asia. Suddenly there weren't enough containers, weren't enough ships, weren't enough dock workers. The price for a single container exploded. From $800 to $20,000. A 2,400% increase. Companies were paying more to ship a container than the cargo inside it was worth. Shelves emptied. Prices skyrocketed. Inflation wasn't just the government printing money. It was ships stuck outside Los Angeles for 60 days waiting to unload. At peak congestion, over 100 container ships floated idle off the California coast. Floating parking lots, carrying billions in merchandise, going nowhere. The workers who could unload them, many were sick, many quit. The ones who remained couldn't work fast enough. Because loading these ships is its own mathematical miracle. A large container ship carries roughly 200,000 tons of cargo when fully loaded. It needs to be unloaded, reloaded with new cargo, and back at sea within 24 to 48 hours, sometimes less. Port time is dead time. Dead time is lost money. So the choreography has to be perfect. Giant automated cranes lift containers at a rate of 30 moves per hour, 30 boxes, each weighing up to 30 tons, every 60 minutes. The cranes cost $10 million each. The software controlling the loading sequence is classified, proprietary, worth billions. Because if you load wrong, the ship becomes unstable. Get the weight distribution wrong by even a few percentage points, the vessel can capsize. In 2013, the MOL Comfort literally broke in half in the Indian Ocean because of improper loading stress. Snapped. In half. 13,000 containers. Gone. So every single box placement is calculated by algorithm. Optimized for weight, destination, and unloading sequence. It's three-dimensional Tetris with $50 million in consequences. And it has to happen in hours. This is why the Suez Canal incident was catastrophic. The canal isn't just a shortcut. It's the shortcut. 12% of all global trade moves through that 120-mile waterway. Without it, ships sail around the entire continent of Africa. An extra 9,000 miles. 2 weeks added to every journey. 2 weeks multiplied by 400 ships means chaos. Furniture orders placed in February arrive in September. Car manufacturers shut down assembly lines because they're missing semiconductor chips. Your iPhone release gets delayed. Not because Apple didn't plan well, because a ship got stuck in sand. Now here's the part that should terrify you. This entire system runs on razor-thin margins and perfect timing. There's no redundancy, no backup plan, no safety stock. It's called just-in-time manufacturing. The idea is brilliant. Why warehouse inventory when you can have it constantly moving? Why pay for storage when the ship is the storage? It works beautifully until it doesn't. One stuck ship, one port strike, one COVID variant. The whole machine seizes. And when it seizes, prices don't just increase, they explode. Because shipping isn't priced like a utility. It's an auction. When demand exceeds capacity, charter rates go vertical. In normal times, chartering a container ship costs about $15,000 per day. During the pandemic peak, $150,000 per day. Companies were signing year-long contracts at rates that would bankrupt them if sustained, but they had no choice. No ship means no product. No product means no revenue. You pay whatever it takes. The shipping companies knew this. Maersk reported a profit of $17 billion in 2021. $17 billion in 1 year, more than the previous 5 years combined. They didn't increase capacity, didn't add ships, just charged more because they could, and you paid for it. Every product you bought in 2021 and 2022 had that shipping cost baked into the price. Your furniture, your electronics, your groceries, the invisible tax of container scarcity. Here's what most people don't understand about inflation. It's not just money supply, it's ship supply. The Federal Reserve can control dollars. They can't control vessels, and building new ships takes 3 years minimum. By the time new capacity arrives, the crisis is over. So the cycle repeats. Shortage, price spike, panic building, overcapacity, price collapse. Right now, we're entering the collapse phase. Container rates have crashed back down. Some routes are even cheaper than pre-pandemic. Shipping companies that ordered 200 new vessels in 2021, they're arriving now to a market that doesn't need them anymore. Maersk's profits are plummeting. Overcapacity is building. The next crisis will be too many ships chasing too little cargo. The cycle continues, but the power remains. Because here's the ultimate truth about container shipping. It's a cartel disguised as a market. 3 companies control half the ships. They coordinate routes, pricing, capacity. They call it optimization. Regulators call it something else. In 2022, the US government investigated shipping companies for price fixing during the pandemic, charging exorbitant rates while cargo sat unmoved for weeks. The companies said it was market dynamics. Critics said it was profiteering. Either way, you paid, and you'll pay again next time, because everything you own, everything you'll buy, everything arriving at your door tomorrow, crossed an ocean inside a metal box, moved by a ship you'll never see, operated by a company you've never heard of, priced by an algorithm you don't understand. This is the invisible empire, the veins of global capitalism. 20,000 ships, 400 million containers, moving $50 billion worth of cargo every single day. It's the largest machine humans have ever built, and it only becomes visible when it breaks. The Ever Given was freed after 6 days. Traffic resumed, prices stabilized, the world moved on. Until the next disruption, because there will be a next time, a port strike, a pandemic variant,